As the record in 2011, there are more than 400,000 Chinese people in the UK. They came here for living, working, or studying. Meanwhile, they have to face the cultural differences, especially in media use between China and UK. Xiao is a postgraduate student in Brunel University who is experiencing homesickness.
When I came to UK, it's the first day, it's both my birthday. So it's my first birthday, I'm not have a good experience with my family and have birthday by myself. So I feel so bad, and because I really like stay with my parents and my sister, both with my friends.
Is that one reason that you use Chinese media more? Because you miss your home?
Yeah, because I really need my friends and my family, and my mother needs to every day I must keep contact with her.
Most Chinese students like Xiao have similar experience. Professor Chen Zhisheng, who is studying in Loughborough University and doing media and loneliness related research.
学生群体，他们来了之后，文化完全陌生，他接受适应的过程当中，心里本来就很焦虑，而且英国本土的文化都是鼓励怎么样，人特别的独立自我，相对来讲不给别人添麻烦，这是主流文化环境的这个影响潜移默化的。那么大部分的人来了之后呢，也选择了使用这样的一种社交方式，这时候就往往出现内在的焦虑。
And Xiao is lonely.
When I just came to UK, I don't have friends, so I have class alone, and I eat alone, I cook alone, and both I travel alone.
Hence, many Chinese students like Xiao still can't to use home media, even overuse.
If they too addicted to the internet or any multimedia stuff, I think they probably just confined to their own world. But I don't think that will be the cause. The cause should be themselves. If the result is they isolated from society.
The research of University of Bristol shows that around 30% people in the UK feel lonely.
身在曹营心在汉，他对这个社交媒体的依赖要远远高于对当地的这个传统媒体的依赖。其实这个是一个问题，就是他的心理实际上还没有融入到这儿的环境里，反映出来新媒体的这种消费成瘾的这个症状啊，实际上对他带来的压力只能越来越大，特别渴望从既有的渠道去获取信息。其实这是一种狭窄的消费观，需要你把它打破了以后呢，完全融入到这个新的这个环境里面。
However, the gap between Chinese people and British culture is still considerable. Jin Rongtong is a semi-lecturer in University of Brunel teaching digital media and society since 2003. She finds out why Chinese people are difficult to settle in British culture.
This is because when the way how they see the world is different from how people see the world here, and when they talk to each other, their communication probably have some difficulties because they weren't at the same level. At least, you need to understand how those people in this country think about those things, so that you can understand why, if there are differences, and why there are differences. So in that sense, if Chinese students living here, study here, only consume news from Chinese media, and don't participate into local activities, I mean, that won't be good for them to get used to the local cultures or to communicate with local people here. If they consume Chinese news from Chinese media, in the meantime, they also, read newspapers here, published in Britain, and watch TV channels here. I think their viewpoint of world, the reality might be changed, and they can do some comparison between how Chinese media construct reality and how British media construct reality, so they can make their own judgment about reality.
As the research on the questionnaire with 30 people show, the first obstacle need to be resolved is language for Chinese people, and the scholar Chen thinks the same.
语言的问题吧，在国内我觉得，语言可以了。实际上到这儿来了以后，我发现不那么回事儿，因为他们说的速度非常快，而且用的那些词语，包括一些表达的意思，差别都非常大。我当时我都觉得啊，我在国内的英语难道白学了？其实这个对心理的考验还是挺大的。
Owner of famous Chinese restaurant Jack Ma, stayed in London for 20 years, also says,
A lot of Chinese, I think they English not very well, and they need the information from Chinese.
It takes years for Chinese immigrants to settle down in British culture, which is totally different with their homeland. Janet Chen worked in Liverpool Home Office as an executive officer, and she takes 11 years finally settles down.
When I studied my first job as support worker, those people that I mixed with are mainly Chinese people, so I don't really mix into it. It was after I got British friends, after I graduated from my master's degree, then that's how I start to learn about proper like British cultures, and now I'm pretty much like into British culture life. I mainly look at Western one more than Chinese ones. I think it's just because I'm used to it, and because the people that I now work with, they're mainly British people, and we'll have more common things to talk about if we're watching the same news, or we're focusing the same issue in the world.
Janet won't give up using Chinese media.
I still think it's important to see the both side of it, rather than just looking at the Western side. I think all medias are a little bit biased, so I think we do need to kind of look at both.
Jin Rong also uses the both.
Most of the time I get news from Western media, I'm BBC, Guardian. But meanwhile, I have interest in Chinese journalism, and also, I have plenty of connections in China. So I also get news from Chinese media.
Social media now is becoming one of the important ways for most people to get news.
实际上我在国内对社交媒体，用的并不多，但是到这儿来了之后呢，我就突然发现了，实际上这个地方必须要更多的学会使用社交媒体。
Social media is an important way of news source.
So in reflection, probably we do get news from social media. Maybe we don't want to admit that, but that's true. We still get some news from social media, especially if we talk about Chinese social media platform WeChat. Quite a lot of news happen in China. Probably the first place you get to the news probably is from WeChat. Especially if you have plenty of journalist friends there, you get plenty of information.
Overseas Chinese people think WeChat is useful.
到英国的第一天，就是在出国的时候就把这个国际漫游的业务就给办好了。所以说到这个地方马上就能微信联系，一直没有中断。
British Chinese people are far away from home, but media platforms provide a connection.
During the holiday, such as a Christmas holiday and New Year holiday, I see a lot of people have their family in UK, so I really miss my home.
With the developing of Chinese media, Chinese people can get benefit from it, which help them closer to their home country.
Chinese media can extend its influence to overseas, and the Chinese people can consume media, Chinese news produced by Chinese media. Although they base in London or in Tokyo, geographically different outside China, but that will help them to establish the bond between them and China. So it will help them to maintain this nationalism, the so-called imaginary nation.
Chinese immigrations in UK need the connection built by social media. As a member of them, Sydney Chen says,
social media is a bridge to communicate with your friends, right, and family. And my parents, they are both over 60 years old, but they know how to use WeChat. So I, rather than call them on the phone, I can just video talk or audio talk with them on WeChat. That's quite good. Because of this media, we don't feel we are very far away from our country and our family. If I feel sad or feel bad, I can immediately contact my friends and family in China. Yeah.
Spread out family members need the connection and bond in cultural and mental aspects. By using media is quite good for them.
So I've got family in Malaysia, family in Canada. So using those facilities enable us to keep in touch much quicker than in the past. We used to have to ring the telephone or write letters. But nowadays it's just, on the app. You can instantly send photographs, instantly send messages.
Besides contact with family overseas, those Chinese people still need to join activities to become a part of British cultures.
The media always can act as a kind of window through which you can understand the local society. Yes, in that sense. But if you really want to get integrate into society, only consume media is not enough. I have to say, you need to talk to people. You need to participate the local activities, and you need to be part of the society, part of the community, instead of just consume media.
Time flies. After 1 year stay in UK, Xiao finally find the right way to live and study in UK.
When use the WhatsApp and talk with my foreign friends, they both will invite me to have a party or go shopping. I think it's a nice way to make us better, and we can connect it close than before.
The children of first Chinese immigrations in UK grew up in British culture. How do they identify themselves?
移民家庭来了以后啊，第二代中国人已经基本上都伦敦化了，也就是说英国化了。这些孩子自我认同就是一个英国人了，他们很少会讲汉语。其实对于这些孩子来说，既有优势的一面，也有非常劣势的一面。
And also, Professor Jing Rong has her own idea on this issue.
I think for them, probably they don't see themselves as Chinese people. Probably they see their ethnic background as Chinese, but they see themselves as British.
Do you use Chinese media?
Not so much, because my Chinese is not good enough. In Chinese media, I still have to use English. And if there is like a translating facility, like WeChat has a translating facility.
Are they losing Chinese culture? Otherwise, in order to keep it, what should they and their families do?
他们依然注重的一个主要的问题就是保持原有语言和文化的这种引入。
Jack is also a 10-year-old girl's father. He helps his daughter to retain Chinese culture and background.
My children, she can read and write as well, because she studying Chinese about 6 years ago. She used both, like Youku, looking for Chinese film, and YouTube as well.
中文媒体在这里的话语权非常非常弱。我想去找一份比较有影响的华文报纸去看，朋友们给我推荐的都没有。华人群体要想提高自己这个群体在这里的生活水准，提高这儿的这种群体的影响力，他们首先应该建立一个积极的传播平台，用这个平台去凝聚大家的共心。 这个向心力，然后呢，再把这种向心力传播出去，这非常重要。
Many Chinese people already contribute to improve it, such as the second-generation Dennis in Manchester, who lives here more than 40 years.
I've only started mixing with the Chinese community since I retired and looking at volunteer work. I think my passion from experiencing some of the discrimination in the UK, I want to be able to contribute my skills, knowledge to help people who are experiencing similar things. And our Chinese group has a radio show, a live radio show every Friday afternoon. We are called Radio Shen Lok. In Cantonese, Shen Lok means forever happy. So we're part of Yin charity. We're volunteers, so we're not professionals. We've got some training from monies from a grant. And once we got 6 weeks training, we set off to do our own show. Once the show's gone out live, we download it, edit it, and then upload it to Mixcloud.
Radio Shenlok provides useful information in Northwest.
We do like news, then topics. So we talk about whatever that is happening that's interesting. And then normally we'll have community news. So we talk about exercising, cycling, activities that you can do to keep your mind active, to socialize, so that you don't become isolated. And also the community news also allows people to know about what's going on in the community so they can join activities that are going on and become part of the community.
High-quality Chinese media platform promote Chinese community and activities.
华文媒体的影响力如果提高了以后啊，实际上最先受益的首先是华人群体。为什么？因为它是文化的直接消费者，它是媒体的这个发展的这个直接的诉求需要的这个人群。另外呢，带给他们的自信不是外在的，而更多的是内在的。我们说生活在这样相对这个孤立的这样的环境里面，它实际上这个群体的认同远远大于自我认同。如果群体认同上来了，自我认同就会更大的激发出来。但是现在呢，华人群体普遍都感觉到，在伦敦的华人之间的交往相对来讲比较单一，中国人所体现出来的这种群体的认同和向心力相对来讲就比较弱。
Media is for audience, which is one of the means for audience to know the world without going outside.
It's for the Chinese community who may not have access or use social media, that they can listen to us, especially the older generation. A lot of our listeners are the older generation who maybe don't go out, don't speak English, so they're fairly isolated. So I think our show is just a means of sharing. I think our statement is like, we share over the air our happiness. I think the younger generation will be very different. They will tend to use more the social media, whereas the older generation will be more television, radio.
Artist Han Yuqing is one of them who don't use English media at all.
没有，因为我到这里来呢，我不会英文，所以说也没有看微信，电视，广播，都看的。
But her artwork is borderless.
因为我是搞文化艺术的，所以我比较关心文化艺术方面的，就是什么地方有展览呐，有名人的刺绣展呐，还有拍卖呀，中国画，我就对这感兴趣。
People can't communicate without media platforms. The seventh generation inventor of Bianjing Latin Zhang has his ideas.
新闻媒体对于您和您的作品来说是一个什么样的存在？
非常非常重要，因为仅仅靠这种传承人自己的传播呢，这些受众是很有限度的。但是通过新闻媒体的话，它能迅速的放大，让更多的人知道我们的传统文化和非遗的现状，以及这些非遗传承人的故事。所以说，这些媒体的作用是相当巨大的。
Media provides a platform to see the world.
I think media is definitely one of the most important way to understand the world in general. so including Chinese culture. And I mean, like nowadays, even Western media, they do lots of reports about like Chinese festivals, New Year's. So I think it's a good way to understand Chinese culture.
In words, what is the definition of media?
Media means your information source, your entertainers, and your educators. Media means everything.
Through the window of media, Chinese people see the world. By using media, they settle down in British culture because media means everything.